Okay, I'm making this video today to review some issues that I found on a 2013 Chevy Sonic. And I've went through the internet. I couldn't find anything that specifically covered all of the things that you should be checking, so I wanted to make this video to help folks out going forward. Basically what we had was on the dash here, an indicator would come on with high temperature. There's no temperature gauge in the car, but it would run for a period of time during hot times, and then the high heat indicator would come on the dash. So again, we started to look at what was causing the issue. So the first thing we did is we started it, and we wanted to see if the cooling fan, which is down here, was coming on. And we found out initially that it wasn't coming on. So again, through trial and error and some videos on YouTube, we found that the most likely culprit was the temperature sensor, which is, again, depending on the video you watch, is very, very hard to find. But this is the actual temperature sensor right here. And then attached is the thermostat, which based on, depending on which video you watch, and again, I'm going to tell you it's all one piece. That piece cost about $115 to buy. And the temperature sensor, which connects right there, that's the temperature sensor as we're going in, came with the $115 thermostat. So here, and again, this isn't a video about how to do it, this is a video about how to diagnose it. So basically what we had done is we tested this sensor, and it was bad, and we had an error code that we found in the computer that showed that sensor was bad. In addition to that, because you can't replace just it, we replaced the entire thermostat. So I had that installed by a local shop here for about $120. Again, very easy to do yourself. We just didn't have the equipment, and you actually have to drain the radiator and so on and so forth. So here are the few things, or here are the four things that make up the diagnostic on this. Obviously, you're going to check the sensor. It should be around 15 ohms if you put an ohms meter across the two lines whenever it is closed. And then as it heats up, it should change, whether that, I think it gets higher, not lower. But this particular one didn't, and now it does. So that's number one. Number two, obviously you want the thermostat to open up. Number three, and I'm going to try to show it here without taking everything apart. That connector, which is right underneath the antifreeze box, is the fan connector. And all you can do to check your fan to make sure that the fan spins is to just take that connector apart, take the box off with the two screws that are right here. This moves out of the way, and then you can just disconnect that. It's got a star head screw in there that you need to take out to actually physically get to see the connector. But if you just run 12 volts to that, it'll make the fan spin or not. So you'll decide on whether or not the fan works. In this case, the fan worked. So we've got everything replaced, and it still didn't work. And this is the piece that really hasn't been anywhere that I have found. This is your fuse box and relays. And I actually went to a dealership here on the island and talked to the parts guy, and based on his computer, he said that the relay was this particular one. The actual book and the cover that I showed you shows that these two are the relay. So what we did is I went and bought relays, and I replaced this one because that was the one that he said was the one, and actually I moved some other ones around, but that wasn't the issue. And I actually bought one of these and I replaced these. And again, all of these that are here are identical, and all the ones that show, let me get my numbers right here, 8430, 8430, those are all obviously the same relays. By the way, this relay right here is not used on this model. It's the rear defogger. So that is an option for you if you want to pull that out. And again, all these just pull out. You just grab a hold of them, pull them. Does take a little bit of wiggling, and then you can get them out. But again, we replaced those. It didn't fix the issue. So here's what we found, and this is pretty interesting. These two fuses, and they're GM specific or Chevy specific, are they've got a little window on them that tells you that they're good or bad. Don't trust the window. If the way you test these, and they are terrible to get out, is you actually we used a little flathead screwdriver and pried this up. The actual fuse is about a ½ inch deep, so it does take a little bit of time to get that out. But here's what we found. That fuse was actually blown, the 40, and that's what makes the fan actually come on or have the power go through the switch. Now again, we had it at the dealership. They said that the relay was coming on, but we weren't getting power through the relay because that fuse was blown. Another trick or tip here for you: this fuse right here, if you look at the diagram and the book, you'll find that this fuse is not used. We took this fuse out, which was a 30. We replaced the 40 to test it, and found that the fan worked. So we've got. I went back to the auto parts store, which I paid about $6 for that silly little fuse right there, but we changed it back to a 40, and it works. One other note, which again it was a little bit hard to decipher, but the 40 amp fuse that's here at the top, that runs the fans inside the car. This runs the fan, this one here runs the fan on the radiator. So here we are with the engine running, and you'll see now the fan is running, because what we've done, and again it just stopped when the air conditioner is on. This fan will turn on, run for a few minutes, and then turn off. The repair technician that actually replaced the thermostat explained that that fan should work regardless if the sensor that we knew was bad was good or bad. So when the air conditioning is on, it overrides, it'll turn on and off. If your Chevy Sonic is overheating or that light is coming on, again, 4 things to check out: thermostat, temperature sensor, fan with the fan switch down underneath here, and then go to the fuse box and check that 40 amp fuse. Again, pull it out with a flathead screwdriver, use an ohms meter to check it, or continuity tester, and hope this helps.